whenever I found my dad dead, when that month come around every year, I was wanting to drink. Not being able to see my kids, I was just wanting to drink just to try to wash that away. After I started doing the pills, I quit drinking all the time, but I was doing any kind of pill you could find. I was doing crank, meth, anything I could get a hold of, I was doing it. It led me away from the alcohol, but then I steered myself away from all the pills and stuff and right back to drinking. When I was about 30-year old, I got my first DUI, went to jail, and after that, it was just a spiral, just one thing after another. 2014, I got my second DUI. 2015, they had charged me with manufacturing. I was looking at 10 to 20 years. I had something missing in my heart, but now I know it's the Lord. That's what
Absolutely.
I was needing in my life.
Thank you all for tuning in to Redemption Road Podcast. It's me again, Mookie, and today I've got one of my good friends, Bobby Trosper.
Hello, everybody.
He works here at the 30 Day with me, and he's one of our chefs. Plus, he does multiple things. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, Bobby is. But today, me and Bobby here, we're going to talk a little bit, about his testimony and where he come from, where he grew up at, and how he came to be where he's at today. So, Bobby, if you want to, you just start wherever you want to, brother.
All right, my name's Bobby Trosper. I'm 41-year-old. I'm from Somerset, Kentucky. I lived in Somerset my whole life. Well, I lived there as a minor. I have no remembrance of my mom and dad being together.
Yeah.
At a young age, my mom was in abusive relationships. We got put in a Bethany house for a little bit up there in Somerset, which is a homeless place, a home for abused women. We lived there for a few months. Whenever I was about 9.5-years-old, my dad, he died, and they brought him back and said if he didn't quit drinking, that he wouldn't make it 6 months. So I finally got my mom to agree to let me move to northern Indiana to be with my dad. And I went up there, and I lived with him for the whole summer, about 5 months, 4 or 5 months. And I started the school year that following year, and I went to go get my dad up. My granny was in the kitchen cooking breakfast. She told me to wake my dad up. And I went to try to wake my dad up, and he was dead.
Yeah. So and how old was you when that happened, Bobby?
I was about 9.5-years-old.
About 9.5, and you were living in Indiana at that time.
Yeah, I'd moved to Indiana to be with him, hoping that I could get him to quit drinking. And he had slacked off on his drinking, but he was still drinking a little more than he should, definitely more than he should have been.
Yeah.
So he died of acute alcohol poisoning. Is what happened to him.
Yeah. That's tough, a 9-year-old boy. And Bob, you have siblings, right?
Yes, I have siblings. I got 3 sisters, but we all got different dads. The same mom, just different dads. I got one sister older than me, and I got 2 more younger than I am.
Now, was you the only one? Was it just you and your dad when he passed away?
It was me, my dad, my grandma.
Yeah.
Yes. So after he passed away, I come back to Kentucky, and I moved to Russell Springs to be with my mom, and she had remarried to a younger man than she is. And so he was my new stepdad,
Yeah.
So it was hard there, I never called him dad or nothing. It's just, I called him by his name.
Of course, man, because you lost your dad, and that's a big deal when you're a kid, and you don't want anybody to ever replace your dad.
Yeah. So, I was traumatized, I found him dead. I was scared to go to sleep, laying in the position he was, which I was just a kid. I didn't know no better.
Yeah.
But it was a new town, all new people, so I had to make all new friends.
Yeah.
So I started making friends, started running around chasing after girls. By the time I was 12-year-old, I started drinking.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies, fitting in, hanging out, drinking. So as I grew up as a teenage life, I was drinking all the time. Every time I could get it, I was drinking. Everybody was telling me, it's like, how can you drink knowing that's what killed your dad? And I would be like, I'm not my dad, I'm me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But now being around it, at growing up, you knew that was a thing, and I know you've seen your dad run to drinking and stuff, and when we're dealing with certain things in our life, man, we're always looking for something. Yeah. Something inside
something missing, and you using that alcohol for something other that's missing. I tried a few pain pills whenever I was about 16, and I just ate a few of them. It wasn't no big thing, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I had my first kid. I was 16-year-old when she was born. I turned 17 about 3 weeks after she was born.
Yeah. So you was pretty much a kid yourself.
I was
having
still a kid and already having a kid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's running around chasing girls and stuff at a young age. That's where it led me to.
Yeah, and a lot of people. I mean, Russell Springs. It's sort of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
they got-
it's sort of like a lot of the places in Kentucky that you go to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like off to itself, and there's not a lot to do.
Not
and
a
that's
lot.
and that's where a lot of people run into these certain things.
Yeah.
We start hanging out with the wrong crowd or something like that, or just looking for something to do. Because there's nothing there. It's just country roads and work and all there is to
That's
do.
how it was. I mean, everybody, my buddies, we're drinking on the weekends, running around,
Yeah.
hanging out. And my stepdad, he was a truck driver. He'd come in from time to time, and he allowed me to drink. I've drank with
Yeah.
him as I was in my teenage life. He would drink with me and stuff too.
Yeah.
So that didn't help none
So
at
he
all.
was more like the party friend
Yeah,
besides
yeah.
being a father
I mean,
figure.
he was
in
only
your
about
life.
10 years older than me, so
Yeah.
he was young, a little closer to my age, so he drank with me and
Yeah.
whatnot. But whenever I was 17, him and my mom split up. She moved back to Somerset. I decided I wanted to stay in Russell County with him, but he's been a trucker and stuff. I pretty much went on to my own, at 17-year-old.
Yeah, because he's always gone.
He was
all the
always
time.
gone,
Yeah.
so I rented me a place and was working 'cause I quit school right after my daughter was born, where I could get a job and help pay for it.
Yeah.
I had to drop out of school at a young age and start working. Then I was about 20-year-old, somewhere 1920. I took and I tried marijuana. It was all right, and I crushed up a pain pill, and I snorted it. And after I snorted that line of pain pill, I was hooked to that drainage. So
Yeah.
then, when I was around 20, 21, something like that, I had my first boy.
Yeah. So
Well,
you had another kid.
I had another
You had
kid.
one at 16, one at 21.
20, and then about 23, I had another boy.
Yeah.
So after I started doing the pills, I quit drinking all the time, but I was doing any kind of pill you could find. I was on the methadone, snorting them that burn. I liked it. So the first time I tried meth, I took and I liked the burn from it. So I
Yeah.
was hooked on that meth. I was doing crank meth. Anything I could get a hold of, I was doing it. It led me away from the alcohol for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But then I steered myself away from all the pills and stuff and right back to drinking. I never imagined that I would live to be 33, past 33-year-old. That's how old my dad was when he died. My whole teenage life growing up, everybody saying, how can you drink knowing that's what's going to kill your
Yeah.
dad? I was telling them that's not me. I'm not my dad, I'm me.
But in
So-
fact, you was living
Well-
out the same lifestyle as your dad and had kind of like the same intentions for yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I never figured I never figured I'd make it past 33-year-old. So in my 30s, I went back to heavy drinking. When I was about 30-year-old, I got my first DUI, went to jail. And after that, it was just a spiral, just one thing after another. 2014, I got my second DUI. 2015, they'd come into place and they'd charge me with manufacturing. I was looking
Yeah.
at 10 to 20 years. I done 13 months, sat in jail for 13 months over that. I hired a lawyer, and they finally got me out, and I still had to go to court a few different times after that, and they finally amended it down to a Class A misdemeanor, possession of controlled substance.
Yeah.
But time served where I'd done that 13 months on that.
Yeah. So you've seen your fair share of jail
Yes,
time.
I have.
Yeah, and these
And,
county jails, they're run down, man, and it's rough in this
Yes.
part of the country. It is.
Yes, it is rough. I knew drinking stuff, what kind of life it was leading me. I've lost jobs, I've lost families. Being married, my wife's leaving me. Going to my kids, relationship with my kids, all from the alcohol.
Yeah. So what happens a lot of the times, and I know you probably suffer from this, is you get in that depression, that state of mind. So like when you do get sober, you're like, I've lost all this, I've lost all that. So it drives you straight back to drinking because you're trying to feel that emptiness that's inside of you, and the drinking's the only thing that makes you feel good.
Whenever whenever I found my dad dead, when that time of the month come around every year, I was wanting to drink. Not being around my kids, not being able to see my kids.
Yeah.
I just wanted to drink just to try to wash that away.
Yeah.
That missing them and stuff. And I I had something missing in my heart.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know what it was. I was trying to fill it with drugs and alcohol and stuff,
Yeah.
and never could realize what that was. But now I know it's the Lord. That's what I was
Absolutely.
needing in my life. But at that time, I didn't need it. Just like I was saying about the drinking situation. Everybody tell me that, and I would say I'm not him, I'm me. But the thing is, I was my dad, but worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I about lost my life numerous times. My kids would sit and watch me drinking.
Yeah.
Worrying if I'm never going to wake back up. When I pass out, put my kids through it. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that then, but now, I mean, I've realized what I've done, and I
Yeah.
was no good at all for my kids and my wife or none of my family.
Yeah,
Putting
and-
all my mom, everybody, and worrying about me.
Yeah.
Stressing them out over worrying about me.
Yeah, and you probably didn't grow up with no type of religion in your life or nothing. Did you?
I went a little bit to church, but nothing serious. No,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
really, I wasn't no kind of religion at all. Really.
Yeah, so you didn't. So when it comes to hard times, so I know that now. So do I. That since we've been, since we've got saved and stuff, that these hard times fall on us, man, and we have no answer for what's
Yeah.
going on in our life, man. When the answer's always been there,
Yeah.
but we just didn't know how to find it, and it comes to a point to where we get saved and we start seeing things, and it's hard, it takes faith.
Yeah.
And faith is, seeing or believing without seeing,
Yes.
and it's hard, especially when you're not sure, and you've got this alcohol here, and what that'll do for you, or you've got these pills here, or whatever it may be. It may be women, it could be anything,
Yes.
that you try to fill your life full of these voids. Drugs, money, women, whatever it may be, we're just always looking for something more, and it's
I
just
was
never.
always looking for something
It's
more.
never satisfies,
Never
nothing
satisfied.
like nothing.
It might satisfy temporarily, but it wasn't
Yeah,
permanently. I mean, you're a day or two afterward, you're right back feeling the same way, looking for something, trying to fill that empty hole.
yeah. Your money's gone, the
Oh, your
woman's
money's gone,
left you, your highs wore
Yes.
out, and then you're right back and worse shape. Than
definitely
what
worse
you
shape than
were
you was
when you
before.
started,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
Yep, it's hard to get out of.
Yep. So yeah, like I say, I mean, I drank all my 30s. Whenever I was, I think 38, it was 2020. I come to the Trillium Center over here in Corbin, Kentucky,
Yeah,
and there's a girl there at the Trillium that came to Hope City,
yeah,
and she had graduated and went back home, and she had messed up, and she was coming back there.
yeah,
And she got to tell me about the place, and she got to tell me about they had a men's facility.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want to go check that out. So she told me the name of it and everything. So I called.
yeah. And that was when you heard
That's
about
when I
us.
called
Yeah.
Redemption Road, and
Yeah.
Josh Hatton, he come up there to the Trillium Center. He come in and interviewed me and everything. And after he got done with it, he said, okay. He said, I have somebody up here in a few days to pick you up. So they come up there and got me, and they bring me out there. We started going out in the country. I was like, where in the world are we going to?
Yeah,
And I get out there, there's a little bitty, he had that little brown house, and he had the big old building out there.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, where are we going? I was figuring
Yeah,
it would be
you
a big
didn't
old place, like bigger, but
Yeah.
went in there.
And a lot of people don't understand what he's talking about
Yeah.
when he say where are we going. But now that's like all of us, man. The initial shock when you
Yeah,
drive
yeah,
out
it
there, you're
definitely
like,
is.
I'm telling y'all, this is like so far back up these hollers and stuff in the country, and
Yes.
you're like, man, or am I ever going to
Which
get there?
I mean, yeah. Also, I wasn't from around this area anyway.
Yeah.
I'm an hour away from here.
Yeah, and
to start
Somerset's
with.
a little bit bigger place.
Yeah,
than,
Somerset's a lot
yeah.
bigger town than over here.
Yeah, there's
So,
nothing.
Yeah, I was a little shocked there at first, but I came in there. I mean, everybody just welcomed me as soon as I walked in.
Yeah.
They asked me if I need anything. Guys come up saying "love you." I was like, "What's
Yeah.
really going on?"
Yeah, and that's most of the guys that I've
Yeah.
done these interviews with, and I know it was the same for me, and it's been the same for about all the guys that I've done the interview. It's the initial shock, So
Yeah.
like when we're out there running around drinking or partying or whatever we're doing, we're just used to people pushing us away,
Definitely,
getting away
definitely.
from us. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be around us,
Right.
because, and I mean, rightfully so, because of the way that we're living and our actions and what we're doing. So, when you first walk in there and you've got these people like that you don't even know, that you've never seen a day in your life, and they're like, "Hey, man, I love you," and you're like trying to figure out, what's this guy talking about? He don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
How can he say?
Yep.
It shocks you right off the bat. You're like, "Hey, where am I at?" And
Yes, definitely.
man, that's what got me when I walked in there. And like I tell everybody, it's not a selfless love.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about
No.
here. Selfless love is like when you do something for somebody and you're expecting
Make
something
something
in
back.
return.
I mean, they wasn't wanting nothing in
Yeah.
return. I mean, and even after you're there a week or two, I mean, they still acting exactly the same as they was that first day
Absolutely.
you met them,
Yeah.
And that there, I knew something was different there,
Yeah.
So I went through the whole program. I built a relationship with the Lord while I was here. I mean, I prayed about, whether I
Yeah.
should stay here or go back home. And I asked him just give me a sign. I mean, I had numerous guys coming up to me, telling me, "Hey, you need to stay here when you graduate. You need to stay when you graduate."
Yeah, because I remember when you came through, we all loved you, Bobby.
Yes.
I mean, this is a guy right here that's not hard to get along with. Bobby's just as easygoing a guy as I've ever met in my life. He's just an all around good guy.
I try to be. I try to be.
Yeah,
But I didn't. There's no nicotine there at Redemption Road. I was a heavy smoker before I came.
Yeah.
I didn't touch no nicotine the whole time I was there. But the day I graduated, I didn't make it from North Main Church over there where I got my certificate. I didn't make it back to North Main. Left North Main. I didn't make it back to 25E. I had a
Yeah.
cigarette lit.
yeah,
And I went back home, and I thought I'd be all right. I was like, well, I'll be able to drink a little bit. It'd be okay. That little bit turned into a little more, a little more. I took and got married 2 months after I went back home. I got to talk to my son for the first time in probably 12 years.
yeah,
That's another thing I prayed about the whole time I was here. And
Yeah.
before I came to rehab, man, I called him son. He said, "Why you call me that for? You're not my dad." And then 2 months after I graduated, he took and called me dad. And
Yeah.
that felt really good. But then it's like I continued. I went back to my drinking and stuff,
Yeah.
and he just got to where he wouldn't talk to me no more. And I wound up moving up to Danville and working up there, drinking and drugging. Right back to the same stuff, almost
Absolutely.
losing my life numerous
Yeah.
times.
yeah,
One of the guys from Redemption Road come pick me up, and I thought I was coming back to rehab, but he took me to the Trillium Center.
yeah,
And they told me up there at the Trillium Center that day they actually called my wife and told her if I hadn't come to the hospital that day, I would have died.
yeah. From the same thing that killed your dad.
Yeah, from the exact same thing killed my dad. I mean, because I was right at acute alcohol poisoning, and I had a whole bottle of liquor at the house. I would have sat
Yeah.
and drank that day, because that was early that morning whenever they took me there. So
Yeah, now just how much in that time in your life, Bobby, just so that everybody out there knows, just how much was you drinking a day? Would you estimate? I know it was probably different.
close to a half a gallon
Yeah,
a day. I mean, I'd sit down.
and all liquor too.
Yeah,
right?
liquor. I drank a few beers just to have something else to drink, but
Yeah.
liquor is what I was drinking to
Yeah.
get drunk with. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd buy half a gallon, man. I'd start drinking that evening. I might wake up next morning and have not even a quarter left in the bottle.
Yeah,
So pretty much almost a whole half gallon.
Yeah. and that's a lot.
And I mean, I'd go I'd get on long binges. That's what really laid it to me. I'd start drinking. I'd stay drunk for 2 weeks at a time or longer.
yeah,
So there's all that alcohol just kept on accumulating. I wouldn't eat or nothing like that. I'd just get up, drink until I lay back, pass out, wake back up, do the same thing again, just repeating myself for like days and days and days at a time.
yeah. It's a cycle. You just
Yes.
stay in. Yeah.
So there's no sober time for weeks on top of weeks, man, and it's rough.
Yeah. So you graduated the first time,
Yes.
right? And then you left,
Yep.
and you were right back in a mess.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
didn't take no time. I turned away from the Lord, and I didn't go back home and try to keep a church family, find me a church
Yeah.
back home to go to or nothing like that. I just went right back out into that world,
Yeah.
doing the same old habits that Bobby used to do, living a life for Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it didn't take no time. Like I was saying, I thought I could drink a little bit and I'd be okay. That little bit turned more and more, and next thing you
More.
know, I'm sitting there smoking weed again, doing drugs, dope.
And
Yeah.
and the Bible speaks about that, like it speaks of getting 7 times worse, and
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I went back out there, it was definitely 7 times worse. I mean,
yeah,
I've taken fall off the alcohol at home numerous times, man, and it's hard. But I mean, it definitely helped me
Yeah.
going to the Trillium Center, man.
yeah,
At that time, I mean, and like that lady said, if I hadn't came that day, I
You
probably
would've
wouldn't be
died.
here today.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
So, but yeah, I stayed 8 days at Trillium Center. You know what I done? Instead of coming on to rehab after they got me feeling better, I left and went right back home
yep,
to do what Bobby wanted again.
that's right,
Living the life not for the Lord, not for nobody but me, not for my family, nobody, just what Bobby wanted.
yeah,
So I went back home, went back drinking. I didn't make it 2 months, and I was about to lose my life, man, again.
yeah,
And I was ready for a change. I'd actually went to the hospital. They pumped some IVs through me and stuff, trying to get me feeling better. And I went back home, and I was ready for a change. So I called some of my buddies over here at Redemption Road, and I couldn't get nobody to come get me quick enough. I started like at 4
Yeah.
or 5 o'clock in the morning, started calling them, man.
yeah,
And I finally talked to someone about 7 o'clock, and he's like, my brother Ray, he's like, if you can't find nobody to come get you, he's like, I'll come get you around lunch.
yeah,
Lunchtime wasn't quick enough. I finally got my wife to get up and
Yeah.
bring me to rehab. She wanted me to come back to treatment. She wanted me to wait a couple of weeks, but I was ready to come right then. So she was mad all the way from Danville down here. She wasn't
Yeah.
ready to get up that day and make this trip. I come back down here to this 30-day facility, and you actually come out there in the parking lot and got
Yeah.
me and my stuff and brought me in,
yeah,
done my intake. And then I went over there and I sat down while Daniel was doing his class that morning. When he got done with class, I told Daniel, I said, I'm here for the long haul. I said, I want to complete this program, and I want to work for y'all.
yeah.
I knew I was ready for a change.
Yeah. So the difference was in this time, when you went back out there, and like you said, it got way worse.
It
but
definitely way
but
worse.
you knew from being here the 6 months before, you knew that instead of falling back on those things, that you
Yeah.
had another place to fall back
Yes.
to, which was God. Because
I
once
knew I come here and do this program, I can come to know the Lord, and I have brothers here at this place
yeah,
that actually love me and care about me and my life, So I got a relationship with my family here.
yeah,
I got more of a
Absolutely.
relationship here with this family than I do my family back home.
Yeah.
I mean, I still talk to my family back home and stuff, but whenever it really comes down to needing something or needing advice, I go to my family around here, my brothers
Yeah.
like you and all my other brothers here. I choose the Lord first off. I go to Him, I pray about Him. I wake up every morning, I have to choose whether I want to live for Bobby or if I want to live for the Lord.
yeah. It's an everyday thing.
It's an everyday process. You have
Yeah.
to choose that every day, what life you want to live.
Yeah, and it's
You
not.
know?
A lot of people don't understand. It's not. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm going to church every Sunday, and I'm good. It's really what you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's a choice. You have to get up every morning. You have to die to yourself. You have to.
And there's no life, saying, I'll live for the Lord today and I'll go live for me, Bobby, tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That's not happening. You got to choose to live for Him every day.
Yeah.
I mean, like different circumstances, you'd be like, I can go do this here. They won't know about it. It don't matter if your brothers and for here at the church know about it or not. It don't matter if they see it or not. The Lord sees what
That's
you do.
right.
I mean, you're not getting nothing by Him.
That's right. He knows. He knows everything. He
knows
sees
your
far.
heart.
Yep.
He knows everything. He knows what you truly mean.
He
deep
knows
in
our
life.
true intentions. He
Yes.
knows where our heart's set, where our affections are at.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that that you can go out there and sin and you're damned to hell, but no, I'm just saying that that God is a faithful judge, and He'll judge His people according to their hearts. Man, that's what He looks at. He looks at the
He's
insides,
faithful, and he's a forgiving God. I mean, if not,
Yeah.
He could have gave up on me whenever I came here this first time. When I went back home, turned away from Him, He could have very easily said, "You know what? I'm done with Him,"
yeah,
and just give plumb up on me. I mean, everybody here could have give up on me too, but nobody give up on me. Everybody wanted good for me, and the Lord wants me, and I choose now to live my life for the Lord, and He does for me. He looks out over me. He looks over my family.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You know.
it's a good. So God is a God of restoration, for the most part. You see it every day around here. You see people that have came through the program, people that have been so far away from God, that have been so far away from their family. And it's a beautiful thing, to see when God starts putting that back together. And I know today, now that you work for us, Bobby, won't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do today here at Redemption Road?
Well, I work at Redemption Road. I come in every morning. I cook breakfast, and then we get all the guys up.
Good breakfast, too.
And we feed everybody after done eating, get the kitchen cleaned up. We do meds, nicotine, vitals.
Yeah.
And then we have our prayer time with the guys, and they do classes. I do the grocery shopping for our facility.
Yeah.
I take guys to the doctors from time to time. Every now and then I get to go pick somebody up from the jails or bus stations or something like that. I get to go transport them.
Yeah.
And then get to spend time, fellowshipping with them. I take them out to the sawmill on Saturdays. And that's another opportunity for me to get to talk to them and, help build a relationship with them, one-on-one.
Yeah. So pretty much, like I said, you're a Swiss Army knife, Bobby.
Kinda,
you do it every
like
bit.
that.
Bobby does it all.
I try to do it all, getting their intake kits ready, washing the bedding and stuff whenever they leave and go on to our long-term facility, help get all their stuff ready to go out there.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, the Lord has really, rebuild my relationship with my family. My youngest boy has finally started coming back around talking to me now. I haven't got to see him yet. He messaged me the other night, man, and told me that he's wanting to come see me this summer. Yeah. So, I mean, that's all because of the Lord. I mean, the Lord's saying being able to allow him to see the difference in me, and
Absolutely.
see that I'm not the same Bobby I was 2 years ago, a year ago. I mean, I'm growing. I'm still young in this, but I'm growing. But it's the process,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm hoping one day my oldest boy, will finally come around and talk to me. I mean, he's 19-year-old. He's grown, but I ain't talked to him in probably 14 years.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's something I'm hoping that the Lord will reconnect us together in his time. All I can do is keep on pressing into the Lord and doing right and living and abiding by him.
And absolutely, and you said it right there. It's in his time, and
it's in his time, definitely.
Because a lot of
times, if I try to rush it and do it in my time, man, it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, a lot of times we try to get ahead of God.
Yeah, if you try to get ahead of him, it ain't gonna work out. It's best just to sit back and let him work it out in his time.
That's right. And
it'll be 10 times better than you could ever imagine if you just let him work it out for you.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth right there, Bobby. I know that the Lord has done a great work in your life, and I know I get to see it every day. Bobby, I mean, he is just as selfless as guys you could ever meet in your life. You can ask him for anything. He'd give you the shirt off his back. He would. He's always laboring for these guys around here, with a smile on his face. He's always got a grateful attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to see these guys come in here and see them broke down where I was at one time, and get to see the Lord work in their life as they go throughout this program, see them growing. That there's a blessing on its own,
Absolutely.
I mean, I get a blessing every day when the Lord wakes me up. That there's a blessing all of its own.
Yeah, that's the best part. That's the best part about it. Where we work, we get that paycheck. You don't got to worry about the paycheck that you get on Friday. We get paid daily.
That's what I tell all these guys stuff. They say, "You work tomorrow?" I say, "Well, I'm off shift here, but I'm always on shift for the Lord."
That's right. That's right. And that's the attitude that we have to have.
Yes.
Well, Bobby, I want to read this verse out of the Bible, and if y'all want to, y'all can flip with us. It's in the book of Psalms. It's chapter 51, and it's verse 10. And it says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." So, Bobby, what does that verse mean to you today?
Well, the old Bobby, his heart was broken. He didn't care about nobody. He just living his life for him. Now I got a heart. I care for all the men here at this rehab. I mean, I try to be polite everywhere I go to people.
Yeah.
I'm not the same man I was before, He's changed that for me. I got a love in my heart now for everybody.
Yeah.
if I can't do for them, I try my best to do, and if
Yeah.
I can't help them, I try to get someone that can help them in the way they're needing.
Yep. It's the old Bobby's gone, the
Yeah.
new Bobby's home.
So, I mean,
And that's what it is. That's what the Lord does, you know. And if you're serving God, you know, especially if you came from a background where you've not been such a upstanding citizen, you know,
Yeah.
or been in trouble a lot, you know, there has to come a change about you. You know,
There
the
has to.
Bible says, "Old things are passed away; behold, will become new," you know, and that change has to take place. Or, you know, if you're not changing, then you need to take a step back and look at
Yes,
yourself,
definitely.
because something's not right, because God will change you. He
God
will
change you
absolutely.
if you allow Him.
He will flip your life
Definitely.
upside down. And
Yes.
it's for the good, you know. It's for the
And I
good.
mean, the changes He'll do for you, man, you'll think it was never possible. The works that He can do. I mean, it's so unexplainable how He can work stuff
Yep.
out in your life for you.
Yep.
If you allow Him to do it, man.
Yep. Yep. Well, I like to thank y'all for tuning in, and I like to especially thank Bobby for sitting here and talking with us today. And I would like to
Thank you all for giving me the opportunity
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah, yeah, and remember, guys. So we would like to just, you know, remind everybody out there, if y'all have a family member, you yourself, anybody that's struggling with addiction, you know, get up with us. I promise you, you know, that we're probably one of the best spots that you can go to, as
Yes.
far as I'm concerned. You know, I've been to several different rehabs.
I've been
but
to a couple different ones, and I mean, here
Yeah.
you actually got people that love you and care
Yeah.
for you, and when they're there, they're here to help you.
Yeah.
That's what we come in here to do every day, is just to help these men.
yeah, and
Try to do good for them. Some of them may not like some of the rules and some of the stuff we have to do for them, but we're doing it out of love from our
Yeah.
heart, you know, wanting good for them. That's all we want.
Yep, and it's a wonderful place, man. We normally have beds available. If we don't have beds available, it's normally just a short wait. So if you're out there and you're struggling with addiction and you're having a hard time, you know, just give us a call. We'll talk with you. Our phone's always open. We'll pray with you if that's
Yes.
something that you want to do. If you've got any prayer requests or anything like that, we'll most certainly would do that with you.
Yeah, my 2-year sobriety mark's coming up here in about another week and a half.
Yep, yeah,
It'll be 2 years sober.
yep.
And it's, like I said, that's another thing. It's all because of God.
Amen.
The reason why I'm still here and doing what I'm doing. I know old Bobby, if he turns away from the Lord, it's going to be right back. I'm
Yep.
going to take and crash. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yep,
That's what I've always done.
yep.
And I know this life here, though, the Lord will watch over me
That's right.
and
And
bless
bless
me,
you.
bless me every day. Bless my family.
Yep,
I've got my wife living over here now.
yep,
I mean, she's been living here for about a year and a half with me, and she's working over here now. So God's moving in our life.
yep.
But the thing is, it's a process, and we got to let Him do it in His
That's right.
time. You know.
That's right. That's the
You know,
main important
Thanks
part.
again for you guys allowing me to do this. You know, it's a blessing right here, having an opportunity to do this today.
Yep, yep. Well, guys, we thank you.
Thank you.